Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a massive question, one that affects pretty much everyone. What is your job going to look like by the end of this decade? We're diving deep into a new report from the World Economic Forum to find out.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a huge number, 78 million. That's the net increase in jobs the world is expected to see by 2030. Now, on the surface, that sounds fantastic, right? But the key word there is net. Underneath that single number, there's a tidal wave of change going on.
And yeah, this gets to the absolute heart of the matter. A growing job market is one thing, but it doesn't mean your job is safe or that the skills you have today will be what companies want tomorrow. The real story here is about transformation. So, what's actually coming our way, and how do we even begin to prepare for it?
All right, so to really get our heads around this, we first need to look at the powerful currents that are reshaping the entire world of work. And we're not talking about a slow, gentle shift. This is more like a fundamental rewiring of the whole system.
The report calls this a structural churn of 22%. Just think about that. For every 5 jobs that exist right now, more than one of them is going to be seriously disrupted. And that churn is made of 2 huge movements. We're talking about an estimated 170 million new jobs being created, but at the exact same time, 92 million existing jobs are expected to disappear.
So what's causing all this chaos? Well, it's not just one thing. It's the combined punch of 5 major global forces. You've got the obvious ones like technology and the green transition, but the report also points to things like economic uncertainty, which slows down investment, and this idea of geoeconomic fragmentation, which is really about shifting global supply chains, plus major demographic shifts like aging populations. All of these are reshaping what jobs are needed and where. And wow, this chart really shows you just how dominant one of those forces is. When employers were asked what's going to transform their business, a staggering 86% pointed to AI and information processing. I mean, that's just miles ahead of everything else. Robotics and new energy tech are big players too, but it's clear that technology is right at the epicenter of all this change.
Okay, so we've got these massive forces creating and destroying jobs all over the place. Let's get a bit more specific. What does this new job landscape actually look like on the ground?
And this is where you can see a really clear divide opening up. On one side, you have the fastest growing jobs in terms of percentage, and no surprise here, they are completely dominated by tech roles, AI specialists, big data experts, you name it. But then on the other side, the fastest declining jobs are almost all clerical and administrative roles, the exact kinds of jobs that are being automated away.
But wait, this is where the story gets really interesting. Because when you stop looking at percentages and you start looking at the sheer number of jobs, the absolute numbers, a totally different picture emerges. The roles with the biggest growth aren't in tech. They're jobs like farm workers, delivery drivers, and construction workers. And this tells us something really important. While tech is changing everything, the actual bulk of new jobs will still be in these foundational parts of our economy.
So this shifting job market obviously has a direct impact on what employers are looking for. And really, what this all means is that the skills that made you valuable yesterday might not be the same skills that make you valuable tomorrow.
And here's the number that really drives that home. Employers estimate that on average, 39%, so nearly 2/5 of a worker's core skills will need to change by 2030. Just let that sink in. Almost half of the core things you do at your job today could be different in just a few short years.
The report actually has a name for this: skill instability. It's basically the speed at which our current skills become outdated. And look, 39% is still an incredibly high number, but it's actually stabilized a tiny bit from past reports. That might suggest that as more people get training, we're slowly, maybe, starting to catch up to the pace of change.
And this isn't just a headache for us as workers, it's the number one thing keeping business leaders up at night. A full 63% of employers say this gap, the space between the skills they have in their company and the skills they need, is the single biggest barrier stopping them from adapting for the future. So what are these skills that everyone needs? Well, it's a really fascinating mix. The top 3 are exactly what you'd guess: AI and big data, cybersecurity, and just general tech literacy. But then, look at numbers 4 and 5, creative thinking and resilience, flexibility, and agility. It just goes to show that as technology gets smarter, our uniquely human skills actually become more valuable, not less.
Which, of course, brings us to the most important question of all. With all this change barreling down on us, what can we actually do about it? How can we, as workers and companies, get ready for what's coming next? Okay, so here's some genuinely good news. The number one strategy for employers, and we're talking 85% of them, is to upskill the workforce they already have. So they're not just looking to automate jobs away or hire a bunch of new people. Their primary plan is to invest in their current employees. So let's break that down. Imagine a room with 100 of today's workers. By 2030, about 41 of them might be fine with their current skills. But that leaves a clear majority, 59 of them, who will need some kind of training. 29 will get upskilled for the job they're already in, and another 19 will be totally reskilled for a new role. But that still leaves 11 who are at risk of being left behind, unlikely to get the training they'll need.
But here's the thing. Businesses are saying they can't do this all by themselves. They're sending a very clear signal that they need governments to be partners in this. The top two things they're asking for are more public funding for skills training and better public programs that actually provide that training. And that brings us to a really crucial point. This future we're talking about isn't set in stone. The changes we've walked through, they aren't some inevitable forces of nature. No. They are the direct result of the choices and the investments being made right now by leaders in business and in government. We actually have agency in this story.
And that really leaves all of us with a final question to think about. The future of work isn't some passive event that we're just going to sit back and watch. It's something we are all actively building every single day through the career choices we make, the things we decide to learn, and the policies we advocate for. So the real question is, what part will you play in creating it?